Okay, so today I want to talk to you about the basic pillars of the Staffless Practice Success System. Um, I have been on a mission for the past few years to teach wellness practitioners all over the world how to cut the right corners when they're ready to be cut, how to put things back into place when they need to be put back into place, how to automate and streamline when it's appropriate, and how to not do those things when it's not. If we don't already know each other, I'm Jody Dinnerman. I've been a chiropractor for 23 years. I love what I do. I just got to a point in my practice where I didn't want to have staff anymore, and I figured out a solution. And it's been going really well so far. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to spend about 30 minutes sharing the most important strategies to increasing front desk efficiency. I want you to walk away from today's training feeling like it was a really good use of your time. That's my goal. Then after I share with you, I'm going to share how you can hire me and my team. I'm not going to talk a thing about hiring us until we get to that point. And when we get to that point, if you're saying, I have no intention of hiring this woman, I'm going to say goodbye, go enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you loved our time together. Cool? Okay. So I want to introduce Dr. Kent and Dr. Shona, who are here with us today. They are both graduates of the Staffless Practice Academy. And as I was working with them, I fell in love with each of them, and I asked them to join my team as coaches, and it's been magic ever since. They work very closely with our students to make sure that my program doesn't end up one of those programs that sits on your computer and you never touch. They're accountability coaches. They are walking the talk. They are in practice. They're successful in practice, and they're practicing all of the things that I'm about to teach you. So thank you for being here, Shona and Kent, and they'll both have time to share with you later on in the training. So here's my question for you, and I want you to raise your hand. You can drop a comment in the chat. However you want to participate with us is cool. How many of us feel like we're spending too much time in the office? How many of us feel like if I could just squeeze another hour out of my week to have more time with my family, everything would feel like it was worth it? Yep. How many of us feel like we're spending a ton of energy building the practice, organizing the practice, automating the practice, whatever you're putting into your practice, but you don't feel like that energy is coming back to you out of exchange? How many of us think we might want to have a team? We're not sure what to do about having a team. There are question marks about hiring, maybe a VA. Maybe you have a team, maybe you are the team, and you know that it could be going better. Okay, cool. How many of us are just freaking overwhelmed? And we know we could be doing more efficient, we could be implementing more efficient systems, and we just need someone to tell us what to do. I definitely feel that way. I actually feel that way today. I feel like if somebody could just give me the Cliff Note version of how to do this one area of my life, which has nothing to do with what we're talking about today, I'd be good. Quite frankly, just tell me what to do, right? How many of us feel that way about practice? I got you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share a story with you. I'm going to be quick about it. And then when the story's done, we're going to dive deep. Okay, so it was, I've been in practice 23 years, and before the pandemic, I had yet another team member quit. This one hurt because I loved her. I really was tight with this woman, and she left the practice because it was no longer serving her, because she was the right person in the wrong position. My bad. And when she quit my life, and she was one of my best friends. And what ended up happening is I decided I'm done with this. I can't put my heart out there and focus on managing and training and hiring and firing and building the practice. I can't do it anymore. I can't make sure that Sally understands why I'm doing what I'm doing with her while I'm worried about what the person at the front desk is saying on the phone, whatever it is. So I made that decision, and we're in the middle of a snowstorm. I'm stuck in the house with my teenage kids. I'm lying on the couch. I'm freaking exhausted. My feet are up. I remember it so clearly, you guys. And my son, Quinn, my younger guy, is like, let's count how many assistants mom has had. So the number of assistants that they counted that day, it was somewhere around 25 that they knew of, okay? Because I sucked at hiring, training, managing, firing, nurturing a team. It wasn't my jam. So I decided that just kind of drilled the knife in a little bit deeper. And I decided from that point forward, I was done with having staff in my practice. And I was going to figure out how to do it. And I spent the next few months, this was in the winter of 2019, before the pandemic hit. And I'm very social on social media. Like, I put the term social of social media to shame. And I shared my journey with going staffless, and all of my chiropractor school friends were watching me go through this whole thing. This is what I figured out to do with the phone. This is what I'm doing when a new patient walks in. Look at how I reorganized my office, all of the things. This is the EHR program I just found. I just found the perfect texting program. And I would announce all of these things. And then what happened? Spring of 2020, 3 months later, boom, the pandemic hits. And all of my friends who were watching my journey lost their staff overnight. Never did we have an experience in private practice where there were communities of wellness practitioners, not just chiropractors. I work with PTs, OTs, pharmacists. We've seen every type of wellness practitioner come into our world. And overnight they lost staff because their staff didn't feel safe coming into the office. Totally understood. All over the world. So the people who were watching my process over the past few months started calling me. Hey, Jody, what do you do with the phone when you don't have somebody at your desk? Hey, Jody, what do you do with your filing system? Hey, Jody, what do you do with talking about money if other patients are walking in? You guys have to realize that a typical moment in my office looks something like this. Sally is my perfect practice member. She is the 30-something mom with the time, energy, and resources to give more and do more for her family. I've memorized that so that when I run into Sally in the supermarket, I identify her immediately, right? I connect with her immediately. That's the first thing we have you do when you come into our world. So Sally usually walks into my office 10 minutes late. She's holding a baby on her arm who has poop in his diaper. She's out of wipes and diapers. She needs a new onesie. I've got her, Sally. I've got you, Sally. I've got you. She's got her 3-year-old with her, pulling on her dress because the 3-year-old just, I don't know, dropped all of the cards in the deck of cards down the stairs of my office, and they're all over the place. I've got you, Sally. While Sally's walking in walks her in-laws behind her, and she's asking me in front of me and in front of her in-laws, can you see them today? They've never been here before. And by the way, I want you to do it for free. Sally's doing all of her Sally party stuff while I have 7 people on the table on the other side of the office. And by the way, the phone's ringing and somebody is texting me, and in walks my kid with mud all over him. That's a typical minute in my office. And it doesn't faze me anymore because I have a system for every single part of the picture. Okay, so what we talk about in Staffless practice in our academy is we talk about the protection of 3 things: protection of time, protection of energy, and protection of money. My time, energy, money, your time, energy, money, our patient's time, energy, money, the mailman's time, energy, money, my husband's time, energy, money. Every rule or system that we implement, we're thinking about that. We're thinking about how do we protect time, energy, money in this situation with this decision, okay? And from that core, everything springs. So what I'm about to teach you is all to honor the concept of protecting time, energy, money. Is that fair? Okay, cool. Let's get into it. So here's what I figured out when I decided to roll up my sleeves and pull up my big girl pants and do this staffless. Let me also say before I get into that, we say the word staffless with a bit of sarcasm. It's less staff, it's staff less. It's less staff doing what's not the best use of their time. If you have a team of 10 people, more power to you. Best that all 10 of those people, including yourself, show up at the office only to do what your greatest talent is. Can you imagine how much would change or need to change for that to happen? So what I needed to figure out for that to happen, how do I show up at my office 10 minutes before my first patient of the day, get the lights on, make sure my office is cleaned, make sure the texts are responded to, the emails responded to, all of that is done, and just serve great care? How do I walk into the office prepared for Sally and her, hopefully there are no kids listening because I'm a Jersey mom, I curse a lot, prepared for her shitstorm, okay? Because Sally always has a shitstorm and I've got a practice full of Sallys. So I needed communication tools. I needed to figure out what to do with the physical space in my office. And I needed to figure out what to do with the schedule of the practice. Those are the three things that I needed a solution for in order for this whole thing to work. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. So we're going to start with communication, okay? What does that even mean? When somebody wants to reach out to you about your practice, about your schedule, about your money, about your offerings, whatever it is, they can call you, they can text you, they can email you, they can send you a message on social media. All of these are forms of communications. I needed to figure out how to make communication work in my world if I didn't have somebody sitting at my front desk. The first thing that I did is I put together a voicemail that was a catch-all voicemail. And this is actually what I wrote my first book about. It's called Staffless, if you haven't already gotten it. I actually want to give you guys a copy of my Staffless book. I'm going to drop in the chat, joyfilledpractice.com/free book. If that link doesn't work, let me know. That's a free copy of the book Staffless. Can Shona or Kent, can you guys check that link? Because I'm never sure if it's free book or book free. So the voicemail message funnel looks something like this. You start with a study. And if you've been in practice for a long time, you might not need to do a study. Everybody take a deep breath. Okay, thank you. Let's just shift the field a little bit. So you start with a study of who's calling your office. Don't worry about the spam callers. They don't get clout in the voicemail message funnel. So usually in a wellness practice, the people who are calling the office are new patients looking to set up an appointment, current practice members with an admin or scheduling need, or returning practice members looking to get on the schedule and kind of learn about what's happening with the practice. That was a lot more true during the pandemic, like when people started resurfacing and coming back to the office. Now, most of the time with the clients that we work with, the main groups are new patients and current practice members with an admin or scheduling need, okay? Because I know who my perfect practice member is, I want to make sure that whatever I say on my voicemail resonates with her. I'm not going to, so I just did this with one of our clients who's very professional. He wears a white coat when he works. Like, we're very different. I walk around and like, you're lucky if you get me in a skirt, you know, like I don't wear shoes when I practice. I'm so crunchy, it's disgusting. Okay. That's my jam. That's my style. It's who I am, and my practice is a reflection of me. But we have clients who are very professional. So what's on their voicemail message is going to be much different than what's on my voicemail message. That makes sense to you guys? In my practice, I'm everybody's big sister. I kiss the babies, I hug the mamas, I grab the baby when Sally walks in and put the baby on my hip and I walk away. I even do that often on people's first visit because the assumption is that it's okay to do that. If you're in my playground, you're gonna play by my rules, okay? So your playground, your rules, as long as they're compliant. What kind of words do you need to use to identify with your perfect practice member? I use words like, hey there, or see ya, or love ya, or talk to you soon, right? This is the way that I talk. Where somebody like the doctor I was on with this morning, it would be more professional, like, hello, you have received the voicemail of, it's more professional, right? So you want to create a voicemail that's going to address each type of caller that's calling in. It's going to speak to them in the languaging that they would expect coming from you because it's personalized. It doesn't need to be you recording it. This is something that if you're hiring us, this is something that we do for you. If you want, you can go on Fiverr, Fivvr, and you can have somebody create a professional voicemail message for you. Some people, and so the voicemail is going to sound something like, this is Dr. Jody with Light Source Chiropractic. I'm so glad you called. So there's a warm greeting. Reaching this voicemail means we can't come up for air right now to get to you, or something like that. And then I go through the types of callers calling in. If you're a new patient with an admin or scheduling need, go here. And usually the go here is texting us. And I'm going to show you why in a few minutes. If you're a new patient looking to schedule your first visit with us, awesome, can't wait to serve you, go here, right? They get my personality from the voicemail. If you're a white collar kind of person and you want to make sure that that person is knowing how professional you are, then you use the right words to catch all when they're calling into your office. And then you give them a fair warning. Fair warning, you're welcome to leave a voicemail here, but it's going to take a minute to get back to you. Texting us is the best way to get the help that you're looking for. You always say phone numbers twice. You say it very slow, like painfully slow the first time, and then really quick the second time. Cool? You will record this 50 times before you get it right. You will. I still do it 50 times over. People think that their practice members want to have a conversation before they schedule an appointment. That's the assumption. People also think that if they don't get a human being on the phone, they're going to go to the next office down the street. And then here's my question to you. If you had, take any one of us on this call, we're running a practice, we want to get to the gym, we want to put food in the fridge, we want to make sure that we've got clothes that look good, we want to make sure that the office is vacuumed and the tables are wiped down and all of the things. And by the way, I forgot to make an appointment for my 10-year-old to the dentist this week. Would you rather get on the phone with a dentist and hear all about this is what we're doing in the office and da 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 da? Or would you rather send a quick text to your dentist and say, hey, I need to get Johnny in this week. I have Wednesday afternoon and Friday morning. Most of us would prefer a text message. We would prefer to text the dentist. Some of us don't want that phone call. And if that's you, if you want the phone call, then set it up so that you've got somebody either at your desk or on the phone virtually for your practice who represents the culture of your practice. The tricky thing about having someone answering the phones in your office who's not you is people will assume that they know what you know. People will assume that that person understands the culture of your practice. You need to make sure if somebody's speaking to your practice members on your behalf, that they are drinking the Kool-Aid of your practice. Do you guys get that? Really important. It's probably the hardest position to hire for because you cannot train on culture. You cannot train somebody to understand the philosophy of your practice. You can teach them, but you can't get into their heart, open it up, and make sure that they've got it. You can't do it. I didn't get chiropractic philosophy until I was ready for it. If I had been, I actually started in chiropractic as a front desk person. If I was hired 6 months earlier, I would have been the worst person in the world for that job. But because chiropractic had just lit my ass up on fire, I was the right person to be answering that phone because I was the practice's biggest cheerleader. That's who you want answering your phone. Your personal cheerleader, your practice's cheerleader, but delivered as a warm chocolate chip cookie. A warm chocolate chip cookie isn't spastic. A warm chocolate chip cookie is warm and comforting and nurturing. That's who you want answering your phone, if you're getting your phone answered. Okay, let's keep going. I want to go into texting. So the idea about texting, this is kind of a hot topic right now because within the United States, we're going through this regulatory process. If you text a group of people and it's not on something like Google Voice, if it's in a texting app, you have to go through a regulatory process of making sure that your texts are compliant. It's not that big of a deal. We've figured out a workaround and it's something that we're working with our students on. So the key for texting is that you're creating one-click solutions. And I'm actually going to go ahead and share my screen with you. Let me get out of this and let me get into, I'm sharing the real texting box for my practice. So I had to make sure there were no text messages waiting in there for me. If you guys have a cell phone, go ahead and grab your cell phone. And what I want you to do is I'm going to have you send me a text and I'm going to give you the number a couple of times and I'm going to share my screen with you. So you're looking at my texting inbox. Shona, you see my texting inbox? Okay, here's the number and I'm going to give it to you twice. 908-224-4840. And now I'm going to say that quickly. 908-224-4840. Go ahead and send me a text. Just send me the text of your name and watch what happens to my screen. Is that so cool, you guys? So then what happens from here is this now is my to-do list. This becomes my to-do list. So I'm going to play with Penny because I love Penny. I know her well. If I want to send Penny a link to my Zoom, I actually don't have my Zoom in here. Let's go to what I send to my new patients. And I'd send that to Penny. Let's say that I don't want to send that. Let's say I want to send her my address. And then I send that to Penny. I can send that to a group of people, new message, and I would send it to my active client, let's send it to inactive clients, inactive patients. I can send them any text I want, right? And when they get that text, it looks like they're the only person that I'm texting. That's the lovely thing about it. So we use this texting program for recalls. We do that once a month. We'll send there's a whole process to it that I teach our students. We use this for a reminder of what our hours are. My hours change every week because that's what works in my life right now. I'm giving you permission to do it the way that it works in your life. You guys hear me say that, right? Think outside the box and do it the way that it works for you. Think about the things that are no longer serving you and take them out of your life, you guys. Because if you're miserable, they're going to be miserable. If you're joyful, they're going to be joyful. Okay. We also use group texting. Like if I'm running late or if I don't feel good and I need to cancel my hours, we'll just take each person who's coming in today, send them a quick text and say, hey, Jody's shifting her hours to tomorrow. What time works for you? And then what happens is the inbox becomes our to-do list. I do not look at this. I have a virtual assistant run the whole thing for me. The virtual assistant who runs the whole thing for me was hired because of how well she mimics my voice. We say, hey, sister, like we're both crunchy, deadhead, 40, 50 something mamas. She and I we're interchangeable. She mimics my voice. If it was the doctor I was on this morning, he needs to have like an executive assistant, someone who is like working in the White House, running his texting inbox, because that's the caliber that he runs at, not my caliber at all. You guys get that? That's the texting program. By the way, one of the bonuses that we're offering in our 12-week program right now is not only do I pay for your first 3 months in the texting program, we set the whole thing up for you. Oh, it's all very exciting. Any questions about texting? Let me just see. Can you share for a few minutes about how this works for you in your office?
Yeah, gladly. Let's see. And Cecilia, yes, you can. That's why I had initially just set up to forward through to the texting, and we can talk about
talk
that.
a little bit closer to the mic. It's kind of hard to hear you.
Okay, absolutely. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
All right. So all the stuff for running practice and automating your practice, I'm going to switch it around here, can look like a big book like this.
Can't hear you, Ken.
Okay, why can't you hear me? Can you hear me?
When you switch it around, I lose you.
Okay, anyways, I'll save you guys that. The point I was making is, have you guys ever read a huge book and been like, oh my gosh, there's so much information here, but it's so good. I wish I could just memorize all. You're taking notes, you're rereading stuff. But then you can go through that same book and be like, oh, any one thing from this book could change my life. You guys ever like kind of had that with a podcast or something? So with the Staffless program, the huge book, which I showed you, it's one of the green books I have. It's a stand for my computer. It's like 1,000 pages long for you chiropractors out there. It's like that. There's so much. But with our programs, we've boiled it down to the simple little things that if you just digest one or two of these things, it can make a huge impact on your practice. And the phone system and the texting system is part of that, because it makes it so much more efficient for you in terms of preserving your time, your energy, and your money, not to be chasing around on the phone, and for your people to have more efficient systems for getting in and getting out. So I know I have people frequently say, wow, that was so easy to book. And ironically, it wasn't easy because I put more effort in to make it easy for them. It's because we have an efficient system for people to come in and take care of themselves, and they appreciate that. So texting can be a huge, huge thing too. And I noted that once you take an eye and have a vision of what it looks like to have an efficient voicemail and an efficient texting system, then you go to other offices, whether it's your chiropractor, acupuncturist, or your hairstylist, your mechanic, and you listen to like a 4-minute voicemail, and you have this like calling people back and forth a bunch of times. Has anyone ever, you've had that with places, and you're like, man, this is a hassle. I'm just gonna go, it's just a drain. You can't look at it the same way because you know how efficient it could be. So I see the phone systems, particularly for people who are running higher volume practices, or you've been in practice for a while, you've been doing things a certain way for a long time, since the world has shifted and everyone's moving faster and texting more, it can be a huge game changer. So yeah, it's been huge for me. It's huge for a lot of our clients transitioning over.
The things that I wanted to remind you guys of is the nice thing about the texting program that we use is it is HIPAA compliant. That's really important with texting. You can use it on any screen. So you can have a virtual assistant across the country running your texting program for you. Those are the big things. And it's cheap. It's super affordable. You know, I always joke because I got locked into a contract with our texting program that we use at like $250 a month, but they give it to our students for $99 a month. So whatever. Okay, so we did that. So let's get into email. I think that this is probably my favorite part. Let me just go. I want to just clear my email so you're not looking at all my stuff. And then I'm going to share my inbox with you. Okay. The thing with the rule of thumb is texting is a by the way and email is content. Texting is a by the way and email is content. If you have a quick thing of, oh, by the way, I'm running 5 minutes late. Oh, by the way, here are directions to the office. Oh, by the way, you left your earring on the table. That's a text. An email is, here's what's going to happen during your first visit with us. An email is, we would really appreciate a testimonial, and here are the different ways that you can give us a testimonial. An email is, now that it's time for your re-eval or your report of findings, here's what's coming up next. Here's a video showing you. Don't put that stuff in a text, you guys. Never, ever, ever text people about money, ever. Never, ever, ever text health advice, ever. I've seen that go the wrong way. I've seen it go the wrong way. Don't ever text photos and videos in a group. Just don't do it. Text quick by the ways with no links if you're texting a group. And make sure that in a texting program, they always show you the number of digits that you have left. Don't go over the number of digits. These are things to keep you out of texting jail. When it comes to an email though, you can go crazy on it. Just make sure how you do anything is how you do everything in my world. That's my belief. And make sure that your emails don't have typos in them. I do typos all the time and I'm just so embarrassed every time I do them. So I'm going to share my screen with you. What we do with emails is we're big fans of Google Workspace because it's very easy to have what's called a BAA, a business associate agreement with Google. This is something that we set up for you, or we show you exactly step by step what to do. The lovely thing about emails is that you can brand them. You see how this is my personal brand. You can put your HIPAA statement in. And then the nice thing about emails too is I have all of these templates. So let's say that I'm welcoming somebody to Spa Try, which is our 12-week program. It's already typed up. And I type it up not in a quick anxiety-ridden moment. I type it up when I really have time to sit at my computer and think about when I'm in creative time. I don't want to send an email that's this important when I'm in a rush. Right? So I take my time. And the lovely thing about this, let me just delete this one. You guys, just a quick fact. When you're doing templates, create them without the signature. Otherwise your signature shows up twice. We're filming a TV show in Dallas next week. So here's a script that I sent to all of our guests. So that's another example. A lot of words. Do not put this many words in a text. Okay. So that is what we do with email. Really simple, but it's like, oh my God, why didn't I think of that? So the way that I use that in my practice is I send an email to new patients saying, welcome, thank you for choosing me. They do have a choice in people that they choose. And the fact that they chose you, I think it's nice to welcome them with a thank you and with gratitude. Here's a video of what I do on the first visit. Hi, it's me, Dr. Jody, by the way. Then I also send an email after my first visit in person with them saying, here's a tour of my office. So I don't have to give the tour 20 times a day with new patients. Anything that protects my time, energy, and money, I'm going to create a system to it. Most of the admin for the practice can be done in an email. And guess who checks my email? Not I, said the fly. I have a virtual assistant that does that for me. You see how that goes down, you guys? Not the best use of my time to go through spam email. That's why my email box is so clean, because I have Krista. Okay, I'm gonna go on to the next piece. So in our 12-week program, we show you how to do the templates. We actually give you the templates. We give you the templates for texting. We give you the templates for email. We show you how to brand your account. We show you how to make it HIPAA compliant. If you're like Jody, I do not have the bandwidth to do any of this, we can do it for you. It's one of our programs, but it's not our 12-week program. Okay. Protect your time. That's the next thing we're going to talk about. I want you to, if you learn nothing else from me today, I want you to identify who you want to be serving. Your perfect practice member. Usually your perfect practice member is you 3 to 5 years ago, because you've learned the lesson of you 3 to 5 years ago, and you can teach it really well because it's still near and dear to your heart. It could also be the antithesis of you, the opposite of you. It could also be, if neither of those resonate with you, you look at your schedule over the past week, you run down the list of names, and you pick the one person, you see their name on the schedule, and you're like, yes, today is going to be a good day. Write out every single detail about that person. What colors do they like? That's the colors you use in your branding. What words do they love? Those are the words you use in your branding, in your templates, and so on and so forth. It goes on and on. What's sitting on their nightstand by their bed? What do they say first thing in the morning? What do they ask Alexa? What do they ask Siri? Do they have a Mac or a PC? You want to know everything about this person. They're not 30 to 45 years old. No, they're 37 and a half years old, and their birthday is in July because they are a Cancer. You know everything about this person. Okay, so figure that out. It's going to protect your time and then some, because then you'll know how to schedule your appointments. You'll know what's too long. You'll know what's too short. Then I want you to go into figuring out, what does an ideal day in practice look like for you? Are you answering the phones? And the answer might be yes. Are your kids with you? Is your puppy with you? I posted a picture yesterday of my puppy with me. She's laying on one of my patients. This is what Kuna does. Kuna thinks that my patients come to see her. So she lays on them. They're lying face down, their hands are hanging like this. She nudges their hand to get love while they're getting adjusted. She's part of the culture of the practice. Is that okay with your perfect practice member? Does it match? For some of you, you could be saying, there is no way in hell I would ever bring a dog to my office. And some of you might be thinking about calling the local animal shelter and getting a puppy. The other thing I want you to know is that you don't need to be in your office all the time. Have office hours that work for you. Make sure you organize your time wisely. Make sure you're offering types of visits that really, truly work for you and for your perfect practice member. I remember I was doing a certain visit type. What was it? I think it was like a muscle testing visit type, and I dreaded doing it. And every time I saw somebody coming into the office that day with a muscle testing visit type, I would be like, oh God, is there any way I can get out of this? Anything that you say to yourself, oh God, is there any way I can get out of this? Change the pace. Change it, because it's your practice. But of course, I can't reiterate enough, do it within the compliance of the law. Don't be silly, okay? The other thing I'm going to say about protecting time is, a lot of our students, when they start with us, they're throwing so much money into advertising their practice. I love the concept of growing your practice through referrals, through connections you have in the community, because people trust you. If one of you comes into my world because your coach or your best pal in practice, or maybe your front desk person heard that I was really good at what I'm doing, you're going to have a lot higher percentage of saying yes to my offer than if you're just walking in off the street because you saw a flyer somewhere. Build your practice based on trust and referrals. It will save you so much time. And you guys, we have so much information on how to do that, including the books that you see behind me. Okay, so then we're going to go into the physical space of the office. And this is the last piece that I want to go into today when it comes to increasing efficiency in your practice. This is a quick story. When I used to have a huge office, now my office is like 600 square feet. I have one room. I don't have a front desk. It's very small. I have 7 tables, a kitchen, and a baby changing area, and a little bit of a waiting room. That's my office. And when I had a huge office, every time my front desk quit, I had this desk that I got from the local bank when they were closing. You guys, this desk must have weighed like 500 pounds. It was huge. And every time the person quit, I would have to set up my physical space so that I could see the person walking in. So I had to move the front desk area. I had to move where the phone was. I had to move where the payments were taken, because now I was going to be doing all of it. I would take the front desk and I would get my kids, I would get my husband, and we would spend the weekend getting it staffless ready, right? Moving the front desk over here, moving the waiting room over here so that I could see them from the adjusting room. And I'd be like, my people are going to love this. They're going to come in on Monday. They're going to be so excited about the new setup in the office. 99% of the time, they would walk into the office and they wouldn't even notice that the entire space has been moved around. They don't care, you guys. They don't care about the nuances of the physical space of the office. They don't care. They care about one thing. They care about the problem that you are solving for them. That's all that they care about. They care about you giving them great care. Okay. So to take the physical space of the office and set it up for efficiency is key. And we do that by creating what we call client help yourself areas. I have client help yourself areas for scheduling. I have client help yourself areas for changing diapers, for getting an after school snack, for dropping your keys, for payments. Client help yourself areas in my practice are probably going to look that different than what they are in your practice. I asked Dr. Shona to just chime in on how to prepare your physical space for efficiency in practice. So Shona, you want to take over for a few minutes?
Yeah, sure. So I think first is think about who your perfect practice member is, and then start to create spaces that are of value to them. So in my office, when you walk in, there's a water fountain, so you can grab a drink of water. People are thirsty. Then they have, they can write me a little note, like a love note, if they have a need, or maybe if they just have some feedback. And people really like that because it's right at the desk. And then I also have chocolates because I want, the experience in my office to be sweet, and they come in, they get adjusted, they leave, and they have their chocolate, and it makes them really happy. And then one of my favorite ones is in the bathroom, because I realize like sometimes like I'm worried about my breath, or I don't have a chapstick, or if you're a woman and you don't have a tampon. And so I just have a little area in my bathroom, and I have a whole bunch of mints in there. Every time I go to my dentist, they always have chapsticks sitting out. So I take chapsticks and I leave them in there for people to use. I have some rose water so you can freshen up. And it's just really nice. It's just like these little touches that make people feel special. And, they tell your friends, hey, she has mints in the bathroom. Yeah, it's been really fun.
I love it. I can't tell you how many kids come, thank you, Shona.
Yeah.
When I was little, I used to go to Dr. Tierney's office. This is when I was 3, 4, 5 years old. I remember nothing from my childhood. I remember going to Dr. Tierney's office. He was going to put something in my arm. It was going to pinch really bad. I was probably going to feel yucky afterwards, but I get the red lollipop when I go. I remembered the red lollipop. I still remember the counter that the red lollipops were sitting on. So these are the kind of things that stick in memory, right? And we teach you exactly how to set up your physical space of the office. So this is the point in this training that I go into how we can help. If you have zero intention on working with us, go enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you got something out of what we just did. If you want to hear how you can hire me, Kent, and Shona, hang tight. We're going to go over it. Okay, so when we're in the middle of a flash sale week, which we currently are, I like to jump on and go over the ins and outs of our 12-week coaching program, which is called Spa Try. Spa Try is a done by you program, meaning you do the work, we support you. And the promise of the 12-week program is that by the end of it, you'll never have to answer your office phone again unless you want to. Some of our students, it's really important to them to have someone answering their phone, and that's totally cool. We can support you through that. But most of our students are tired of the admin demands of running a practice without staff or with staff who shows up to really just do what they're great at doing. I'm seeing that this, let me just get rid of this guy here. There we go. So we've got a few stages of courses inside of our 12-week program. Basically, the way that it works is once you're signed up for the program, you have information, content, videos drip to you, opened up to you each week. And I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen and show you what it looks like. So this is what we call your Monday.com board. Think of this as your syllabus for the 12-week program. This is where we hold you accountable. This is what your coaches look like to make sure that whatever you signed up to do is done. This board will have due dates on it. And then every one of the classes that, whatever class you're ready to do that week, you simply click on Access Here. This is where you access your class. If there's a download, this is the lesson on love notes. If there's a download, you do the work, and then you submit it to your coach for a set of eyes on it. The work itself is we first focus on the physical space of the office. That's weeks 1 and 2. Weeks 3 and 4, we focus on time. Time meaning, how's the schedule at the office serving you? What kind of visit types are you offering? Re-looking at all of these things that we often don't, we just kind of don't stop thinking about it if you've been in practice for a while. If you aren't in practice yet, this is a really great way to plan how you're going to offer your services for your practice members. Then we get into the texting kit, building a texting program for your practice, the phone kit, the email kit, and finally the bonus kit is weeks 11 and 12, and that's when any of the bonuses that you have coming to you are opened up. At any given time, if you move fast through our program, you may want to dive into some of the classes in the toolkit or the tech kit. The tech kit are all of the courses that we have on the programs that we use in our practices. The toolkit are really, it's more like, let's look in the mirror and make ourselves better people and more productive people in the world. It's getting through obstacles that practitioners often find in practice. The toolkit and the tech kit are always open. And as I mentioned earlier, your 12-week program, it's each class is opened each week. So it's a timed program so that you don't end up binging through the content. We've seen that happen and we've seen it go the wrong way. The other thing that I want to show you is that right now we've got some offers on the table. This is actually right out of my Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/staffless practice. And the current flash sale, it's until Saturday. At the time this is being recorded, it's, It's Wednesday. We're offering, you get to pick 3 of the following. We'll build a texting program for you. We'll even pay you for the first 3 months of the texting program. Or we'll build a HIPAA compliant Google Workspace, which is all branded and beautiful and has templates in it. Or you do a one-on-one onboarding coaching session with me, or a next steps coach call at the end of your 12-week session with me. Or my team gives you 3 hours of work to build whatever you want as far as branded content is concerned. Or you can have an extra month in the program. So instead of a 12-week program, it becomes a 16-week program. And then you can also choose from either our Dinner for Health program or our online course creation program. Some people don't want Dinner for Health or online course, like those don't feel relevant to where you're at in practice right now. If that's true for you and we jump into a triage call and we feel that there might be a course that's better fitted for you or better suited for what you have going on right now, we'll certainly match you to that course. Each one of our courses sold separately is about $1,800 in value. So these bonuses are a big deal. And again, you get to pick 3 of the bonuses. And that's going on till Saturday. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my screen here. Just give me a minute to get back to where I want to go. Sometimes I get messed up with that. There we go. Okay. So What you want to do now is wherever you're watching this video, you're going to see a Typeform. There is a bit of an application process, especially if I'm going to be meeting with you in the Zoom. I like to talk to you before you invest in my program. I want to make sure that it's not going to be a program that's going to sit on your computer and you're not going to touch. I want to see you get your hands in it. I want to see you get dirty with it. I want to see you really use every nook and cranny of the program. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm hoping that this was helpful to you. Look for the link, fill out the Typeform, and as long as you seem a fit, we'll jump on in the next couple of days. Okay.